And welcome back to another episode of MTME. I'm Marcos.
I'm Andy.
And we are coming to you today with 2 shows, 1 movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm so excited. We are Groot, finally.
I am Groot. And we got Silo. We're taking you back to Apple TV with Silo and
Big
Door Prize. Yep. So, sit back with us and let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
And the first show we're talking about this week is Silo on Apple TV.
Sci-fi, right?
Sci-fi, yeah. It's post-apocalyptic. It's got a lot going on for itself. Go ahead and describe it for us, Andy.
Yeah, you got this new civilization that's formed in a silo beneath the surface of the Earth after, like you said, some sort of catastrophic event. And then outside, apparently they can't go outside because it's toxic, or if they go out there, it's going to kill them right away. So they're forced to stay inside to survive. And then also within the society, you've got all these really strict rules about things. You have to have a certain job. If you want to have a child, you have to petition the powers that be.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of like a caste system with some kind of birthing rules.
Right. And you never ever want to say, put me out, because if you say put me out, then I guess you get thrown out into this toxic wasteland.
You can expel yourself, right? Yeah. So but so far there's only 2 episodes so far, and I am completely sucked into the show.
I am too.
I think this show is probably my 3rd favorite show this year, with only 2 episodes being out. It is. It's awesome. But yeah, I think they're building the suspense and the drama very well for this show.
So well acted too.
Yeah, so well acted.
And what I really thought was cool is because I didn't know this. I didn't realize that the cast was going to change as things were happening. And what I thought was really cool is all of a sudden when episode 1 opened up, it said Rashida Jones. So I didn't even know she was going to be in it, but she was the main character in all of episode 1.
Yeah.
And without giving a whole lot, but obviously that changes. And then at the very end of the cast list, it said Rebecca Ferguson. And I was like, oh, I thought she was the big star. But then surprisingly, now in episode 2, you've got Rebecca Ferguson as the #1 star.
Right.
And then you've got David Oyelowo. Oyelowo. By the way, I learned how to say that name. Did you know how to say it? It's yellow with an O at the beginning and an O at the end.
I wasn't even going to try.
David Oyelowo. Okay.
I'm kind of hoping Rashida Jones comes back in some capacity, because they allude to if you leave the silo, that there's some kind of toxic air or something that kills you for leaving.
Yeah.
But Rashida Jones' character, she kind of sparks the whole the revolution of this.
Yeah.
Right.
The rebellion.
The rebellion. Yeah. There's some kind of clues that that were kind of built on, but it was always hush hush. We can't talk about this certain topic, or it'll be thrown in jail. But
and then there was this idea that 3 times they had appealed to the powers that be, their government, whatever they want to call it, that they want to have this baby.
Right.
And they're on their 3rd try, and I guess you can only, for a year period of time, you go through this process. And she discovers that they never removed her sterilization, whatever that pill was or thing they had inside her.
Yeah.
And she actually, in order to find out, she removes it herself, and it was like, wow. So then you find out, wow, the powers that be are lying to you. What else are they lying about? Are they lying about what's outside?
Well, right, because they're going to. There's a history of 150 years post some kind of previous rebellion, where I don't know if they tried to escape or if they tried to bring any information to light. But now it's after this 150-year period, and a new rebellion is about to form and about to spark and take off, and there's a lot of mystery going on.
But do they find any relics, or they find any things that existed prior to them coming into the silo, like say a toaster or a watch
or anything?
You can get in trouble if you have those things in your possession. So if you find them, you have to show them to the government, and the government says you can keep them. I guess you can, but I guess it's a long process. They usually take them away and get rid of them all. Yeah. So you've also now got this other story with Rebecca Ferguson finding this tunnel that leads to
they stop tunneling into the earth. I don't know. There's lots of great things about this show. There's a few things that kind of throw me off. Like there's a part with a camera recorder, but they have computers, they have technology, but they're just kind of lost on a video recorder. So there's some kind of weird things where it just doesn't kind of fit.
Right. They knew how to work the computer device that they found.
Right.
They didn't know how to work
a video. It seemed like this foreign object they'd never seen anything with. It's something simple. It's a computer, a consumer device that shouldn't be too complicated. But I don't know. I just think they're just trying to push the plot forward with these little devices. But
they are, and it's definitely exciting. It definitely keeps you interested. You definitely want to find out more. I'm excited about the cast because I know we already mentioned Rashida Jones and Rebecca Ferguson and David Oyelowo, but there's also Will Patton, Tim Robbins. He had a little bit of a cameo, but I guess he's gonna have a bigger role. Common had an appearance, but he's gonna have a bigger role.
Yeah, there's some kind of like other level of authority in there.
We're gonna find out. And then Ian Glenn hasn't even been in it yet, and I'm so excited because he played Jorah Morant from Game of Thrones. He's one that swore allegiance to Daenerys, and he was like one of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones, and he's supposed to have a major role coming up in this show. So
yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. So, what would you give the first 2 episodes as a rating so far?
First 2 episodes right now for me are a solid 8.
Yeah, I would agree. I would almost say this show is almost a 9. It's very well made, well directed, well acted, and I expect this to get some attention later on.
I do, and I think also it appeals obviously it appealed to me initially because of this whole sci-fi aspect, but there's a lot of other aspects to it too that I think a lot of people would actually enjoy this. It's
yeah, I think it's got a little bit for everybody. So check it out. It's on Apple TV. And the second show we're watching this week is Big Door Prize on Apple TV. It's about finding out what your true potential is. Maybe you've gone down a path in life where you might have questioned where you were at in life. So this show kind of delves into the opportunities of what might have been.
I'll be really honest. When I first heard about this show, I was like, I don't want to watch that. It sounds so out there.
Yeah.
But I'm sucked into this as well too, and I think I really like that aspect. That basically the message here is that if you're not living up to your full potential, you can change your life. You can get on a track to meeting a better goal or changing a goal, or if you're happy the way you are, stay the way you are. But it's the way that it's put together is just it's unique. It's very unique.
Yeah, it's definitely something new. It's refreshing.
Based on a book. It's based on a book by M.O. Walsh. So Apple TV kind of adapted it, and it all kind of centers around this morpho machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this machine is kind of like remember in Big how they had the Zoltar machine. I'll give you a little card of what your future might be, your potential. Yeah, remember that? So it's kind of like that. You hop in, you get a card, and it gives you your life potential. So it might contradict with what you're currently doing, but it gives these people in this town a new meaning to their life. It gives them a new path to take. But what's kind of crazy is that how seriously they took this machine, with the job or the profession they should be doing off this card. But people seem to be happy doing these things.
A lot of times it was very vague. It was a word like you are a rock star, or you are a royalty, or sometimes it was just an adjective, and it kind of made them really question, well, what do I need to do to be a rock star? What do I need to do to be royalty? And then even the people that got cards that, like, the main character is a teacher, and his card that he got basically says teacher, and and it kind of causes him to be like, is that all I want?
I was already a teacher,
So what? Yeah.
And there's like a slash whistler. So I think they're still figuring out what it is that they're supposed to be doing. But it also deals with there's death in the show. There's relationship triangles or different things happening. And
each episode is kind of unique because it takes on one character and kind of highlights that character while continuing to build around the main focus of this being the Hubbard family. You've got parents Dusty and Cass, played by Chris O'Dowd and Gabriel Dennis. I've never really seen them in anything before. Chris O'Dowd seems a little familiar.
Right, I've seen him. He's usually like in some like independent like rom-coms.
Gotcha.
I've seen him in a few things.
Gotcha. And they work well together. And their daughter Trina is played by Juliet Amara. And this family is kind of the main focus. But then obviously from that you've got layers. You've got the boyfriend. You've got the grandmother. You've even got the priest, who lives in the town. So
right, yeah. There was one part with the priest. I'm not sure if you got to this part yet, but it seemed like he had visited this machine in another town or in a previous version. Did you see that part yet?
Yes, I saw his story, and it was interesting. I was trying to figure that out too. It wasn't. I don't remember if it being explicitly said, but it was just kind of put out there, and I was like, wait a second, did he just say that?
I was a little confused because in his instance he gets 2 cards. There were 2 different things that mean one thing, but it could have meant another thing. It was very ambiguous.
I think what it led to is that the first card that he got put him on this path then to be a priest.
Yeah.
Whereas the card that he gets now is making him question that,
Right.
and because that's not the card that he originally had.
Right. So
yeah.
I'm kind of confused on what happened there. So hopefully they explain it in later episodes. Um, but yeah, I think this show's great. I don't have too many things bad to say about it. I don't think it's the best show, but you know, it's very entertaining. And again, it's kind of crazy how a lot of shows nowadays they do this carrot on a stick.
Yeah.
And so they constantly, you know, are just kind of just drawing you in. They don't give you the full mystery of what's happening. And some shows do it better than others. Like we just previewed Silo. I think that show's doing a good job of that. But this show, yeah, not as well done, but it's still very entertaining.
It is, and I still laugh. I was just thinking of the character who got gum on his card, and then he's constantly chewing gum. I guess this is just
right. And what's funny is though, I think he has a bigger part than what they're letting on, the gum character actually, because he seems to have more involvement than what he's leading on, and I'm not sure how far you got.
I only have last ones to do, so I'm almost there.
Okay, yeah. So he goes into the store where the machine's being held, and he fixes the theremin with the piece of gum. Did you see that part?
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so there's I guess you haven't seen that part yet.
No.
Okay, so yeah, so he does this, and he talks to the store clerk, and he reveals some more things about himself. But yeah, that's why.
And the clerk, who's also the boyfriend, there's so many interesting things there that connect to the machine too. It's like he was the first one to get in the machine. He skipped a lot of things that we didn't see.
Yeah.
Then he's also the one that just now found out that the machine, it doesn't make any difference if you put in the wrong social security card number.
Right. Yeah.
It still gives you the same. You still got the same thing. So I don't know. So I guess for me, what I really like about this though is that it basically sends out the message that you still get to decide who you want to be,
right,
and how you want to live your life.
There's
always a choice. There's always a choice.
Yeah, because everybody in town, everybody's at a different age, different stage in their life, and they're all getting, you know, they're participating in this card thing, and they're all making life altering changes.
What would you rate this one then?
I would rate this show a 7. I would probably give it a 7.
I hate to sound like your echo tonight, but I would go a 7 too. I think I would give it a 7 as well.
Yeah, I like how you touched on how the guy was skipping the warnings. Like everybody does this when they sign up for any piece of software. They're like, yeah, just let me just get the software. Right. I don't care what it says here.
So I almost wonder if there's something that we all should have seen.
Right? Yeah. Well, they kind of allude to that. Yeah, that he missed something important in there where he starting the machine up would just not pay attention to what the warnings were. But yeah, you know, I think the show's pretty good. And yeah, if you want to check it out, it's on Apple TV.
Very different. If you're looking for something different, for sure.
Yeah, check it out.
And our movie, I've been waiting for it. I don't know about him, but I've been excited about this for a while. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And, you know, I got my Groot shirt on here to represent. But we've got Peter Quill, Chris Pratt is back, and the gang. Drax, Groot, Rocket, Mantis, Nebula. They're all back for another adventure. And I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah. You know, I think it was better than the second one.
For sure.
But not as good as the first one. The first one, I think it set a precedent for a lot of Marvel movies that brought a lot of light and just fun. And the atmosphere was fun. So, but this one, yeah, they delve into Rocket's past. It's very heartbreaking at points. And knowing going into this that it's the last Guardian, supposedly, right? So,
or at least with this cast.
At least with this cast, they kind of allude to maybe something happening in the future, but yeah, so far, you know, Chris Pratt might be gone.
But but obviously what I liked is that their main mission this time was not to go do something crazy. I agree with you. I think Volume 2, it totally went off the rails. That story about finding his dad, and
right.
And even as much as I loved the first one, I had a hard time with the second one.
Yeah.
This one I like that the story goes back to a more personal mission this time, and the fact that hey, we've got to save Rocket, we have to save our buddy from the High Evolutionary.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of the movies done in this dream sequence of Rocket because you know he gets hurt and he's kind of in a coma, waiting for his friends to figure out ways to save his life. There's this lock on his heart. You know, if they mess with him too much, that it'll explode him and kill him. But there's multiple reasons why. He's got his friends that want to keep him alive, but the bad guy in the movie also wants to keep him alive because he wants to reclaim his proprietary work.
Right.
So.
Right. And I know we said their names, but I mean the stars that play these characters have become pretty big name stars too. Dave Bautista.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Groot was voiced by Vin Diesel. Bradley Cooper is Rocket. Palm Clementif is Mantis. And then you've got Karen Gillan, who's Nebula. And she's kind of popped up everywhere. I mean, she's in Jumanji. She's in, I mean, she's, so a lot of people have, from this movie, have gone on to, you know, bigger and better things for them. Of course, some of them were big names before this.
Right.
But I think what I really enjoyed in this is the whole thing with Groot, that we've never really been able to understand what Groot says, but everyone else does understand.
Right, yeah.
But there's a character that doesn't. And I thought it was pretty cool that as soon as she was able to understand what he could say, then we as an audience also heard what he said. And for the first time ever, we actually got to hear words spoken by Groot, but they were supposed to be in the words of Groot, but we could now hear them because we have now been vested into that.
You know,
character.
I didn't pick up on that. I was like, okay, well, it kind of took me like, why did you do that?
I think that's why. So
that's a good insight.
So that was pretty cool.
Like that, yeah.
And of course, we finally then actually really got to hear Vin Diesel's real voice instead of
yeah. The Groot character, I didn't like how they changed it. Like I noticed that they changed his character model, or if he was in a suit in the holiday special that they had done.
Oh.
And then because like the first movie he was kind of tall and lanky,
Mm-hmm.
and I really loved the design of that. And then the second one he was a kid, which was fine, because it kind of just seemed like in line with being a kid. And then this third one he's kind of wide and stocky and short, so I was like, that's kind of lame. But I was talking to my buddy that I saw it with, and maybe we were thinking that because of Disneyland, it's kind of hard to do a character that tall and lanky, that they wanted to keep it short and stocky just so they could maybe make a costume that easier for the parks. And
maybe, but then I see the one I see when you go totally forward into the, you know, into the future, and you find out that Groot is still a part of this team, and he's huge. I mean, he's like a giant.
Yeah.
So maybe
I think that's part of the comics, though. Yeah, for him being that big. But I don't know. That's just kind of a small quib, you know.
No, I agree. I agree. Trust me, we can talk about Groot all day. But Will Poulter is also in this. I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm so used to seeing him in what was the comedy one they went down? It wasn't RV. They went down. Jason Sudeikis. They with the family. We Are the Millers. I'm so used to seeing him in We Are the Millers.
Yeah, right.
And now he's in this, and he looked completely different.
Well, he's grown up since then. Yeah, and it's hard to recognize him with all the paint on himself. You know, so he plays Adam Warlock in the movie, and it's kind of a weird. It almost seems like they were forced into having Adam Warlock in this movie because they had alluded to him at the end of the first movie.
Gotcha. And to make that connection to the comics.
To the comics, and they can make the connection, you know, to the other planet that those gold people lived on. How that's all kind of intertwined now, and it all fits into one universe.
I did find Nathan Fillion's role in this hilarious. His guest spot as the guard and whatever they were doing there. He's just, to me, he's a funny actor, and he must be friends with James Gunn, because I know he guest starred in Suicide Squad, and he kind of has a smaller segment in this. But what I thought was really cool for anybody that watches the TV show The Rookie, they had their final episode this week, and Nathan Fillion throughout that episode wore a shirt that said Guardians of the Galaxy. So he kind of had this cross-promotional thing going on at the same time, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I don't know why this guy doesn't get his own Marvel movie, because he pops up in so many different sci-fi things as just like this cameo part. And everyone's like, oh, Nathan Fillion is there.
Yeah.
But I think people are just really hungry to see him lead, you know, a major sci-fi movie.
Right.
Coming, you know.
He even played, did you ever watch Santa Clarita Diet?
Yeah, he played the zombie. The floating
zombie head.
Yeah, so he has these small little parts. I think every time I see him, I'm like, oh, I wish he did something, you know, with more range or with more content versus just like this small little part, because everybody loves seeing him on screen.
Yeah, he's good. I feel like with this movie, James Gunn, who obviously was fired, brought back, I feel like with this movie, he took his time. He finally got to make a movie to end the story well, so that we could see the group, different people of the group go off on their own, but also this new Guardian group created, born with, not to give anything away, but with Rocket as their leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was pretty cool. And I think he did, this movie to me was not as good as the first, but for me it comes close. Yeah,
it's got a lot of heart in it. It just doesn't have the enjoyment or the excitement that I had from the first one. But yeah, it does cap it off very well. And I loved how they capped it off with the very first song in the very first movie was the very last song.
And Come and Get Your Love.
Yeah, Come and Get Your Love.
That was so awesome.
Yeah.
It starts and ends with
that song. It starts and ends with that same song. So I love that about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what would you give it?
Really
Oh,
quick,
go ahead.
I didn't mean think too. I was thinking of Chris Pratt, and I tried finding the statistic for this, but he right now has the #1 and the #2 movies at the box office with Guardians and Mario. And I was trying to find, I was trying to research it, and I couldn't really find it. Another actor who's had 1 and 2. There's been actors that have had like 1 and 5, 1 and 7. I don't know if there's ever been another actor that's had
Like
the
Tom
top 2 movies at the
Cruise
box office. And I
or
was looking, I was hard for me to find. So if anyone out there knows, I'm going to put it to you guys. See if you can find another actor that has had the top 2 movies at the box office, or an actress. That would be pretty interesting as well. So, music. I know we didn't get to talk about the music.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're gonna have very popular songs throughout the whole movie. That's to be expected. Nothing that was like, oh, I haven't heard this in a long time, or that was a unique song that I caught.
I
But
felt like the songs though for 2 mixtape volume 2 were a little bit more obscure. So I
right,
felt like for this one it was kind of nice to come back to some songs that were popular, with Earth, Wind and Fire and Heart and Beastie Boys and Radiohead.
right.
And then what I know it's not an older song, but I thought the Florence and the Machine song was pretty
Yeah.
awesome too. So
Yeah, that was a good touch. He plays it there over the loudspeaker for everybody. But I liked how they integrate some modern technology from Earth, because before in the first couple it was just his Walkman,
right.
but now they have a kind of like an iPod now that they're using with the music on there, and it has different year categories on it. So
And I missed the special. The Christmas special, was that where they told us that Rocket had adjusted Nebula's arm? I missed that. I don't know. All
no,
of a sudden,
I don't remember seeing that part on Nebula's arm. I think they just kind of briefly explain what happened in the movie.
Gotcha.
But at the
I
end,
thought maybe it was in the special because I didn't see that Christmas special.
So okay, so did you see the very very last, the end credit, the second end credit
Yes,
one, where he's
yes.
sitting at the table?
Yes.
On the paper, it says something about Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
So go back and watch a Christmas special, because that's where that reference is at.
Oh, okay.
So, but anyways, that's
6 degrees of separation from
yeah.
Kevin Bacon.
Well, check it out; it's pretty funny.
Okay.
So,
But rating wise for me on this, I'm a solid 9.
yeah, I'm gonna go at 8. It's good, not great. I mean, it's definitely one of the better, more recent Marvel movies that I've seen. They've got some other ones that are coming out that I'm not really super excited to watch. I'm kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'm gonna see it only because it is a Marvel movie,
Right.
and I think a lot of people are like that. Well, it's like, well, I gotta keep up with the story.
And
but,
sometimes you're not interested in them, and they actually pleasantly surprise me.
Yeah.
I think we were both kind of let down a little bit by the last Ant-Man. So for me to
Yeah.
see this and having wanted to see this for a long time, I feel like it was a good ending to the Guardians of the Galaxy
right,
franchise.
yeah. So I don't know how much more life this whole series has. I mean, we'll see. We've said in the past, there's a lot of fatigue with the whole Marvel stuff, and they're resetting DC with Flashpoint as comes out in June.
Oh yeah.
So
we'll be checking that one out.
checking
for
that
sure.
one out, and so hopefully they can figure out what they're doing, because like they're floundering and they're capping off all of the great movies that we've enjoyed in the last
Right,
like,
and they've lost James Gunn now. He's over at DC
right,
now.
yeah.
So
we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's definitely a must watch if you're
sure.
a fan of Marvel and a fan of Guardians. So yeah, check it out.
We are Groot.
You're a Groot. And I just want to thank you again for sticking with us to the end of the show. Like we've always said, it helps us out a lot. If you're new here, if you liked what we're doing, please consider subscribing. Check out our Facebook posts. When we make them.
Yeah.
we've been kind of lax the last couple of weeks, but we probably should some other things on there.
Or we got some. We've been updating every. We
update the links, but we probably should put more content on there. So we'll
That's
try.
true.
We'll try.
and if you haven't, subscribe to the YouTube page as well.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited. I just saw episode 12 hit like 4,000 views. So
yeah, we got a couple of hits, out there. So hopefully we can continue growing this channel and see where it goes.
don't forget movie and TV reviews from these 2 awesome dudes.
Two awesome dudes. Thanks everyone. Have a good week.
Bye guys.